The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, I'm Steve for BoatTEST.com. In this video, we're going to do a complete performance evaluation and features inspection of the all-new Boston Whaler 160 Super Sport. Like all whalers, she's intended to be low maintenance, exceedingly durable, and unsinkable. Her hull is a completely new design and she rides a lot more comfortably than the model she replaces. The boat can seat up to 4 people in midships, the most comfortable place in most conditions. Her styling is contemporary and she has a sheer that slopes toward the transom and makes her look fast and larger than she really is. Boston Whaler has provided not one but 2 160s, so we could see the same boat with different options, including the 2 Mercury outboard options, a 75 horsepower or a 90 horsepower. Let's start with the boat's performance. The Boston Whaler 160 Super Sport has a length overall of 17 feet 5 inches, a beam of 6 feet 10 inches, and a draft of 10 inches with the engine up. With an empty weight of 1,060 pounds, 13 gallons of fuel, 2 people, test gear, and the 90 horsepower engine, we had an estimated test weight of 1,917 pounds. With a single Merc 90 outboard turning a 13.5 by 15 Spitfire aluminum prop, the Boston Whaler 160 Super Sport reached the top speed of 37.3 miles per hour at 5,500 RPM. Wind was blowing 15 to 20 knots and seas were less than 1 foot. When backing off to 3,500 RPM and 22.3 miles per hour, the best fuel economy, we had a burn rate of 3.3 gallons per hour, getting 6.7 miles per gallon, and a range of 79 statute miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 13-gallon total fuel capacity. With the standard single Mercury 75 horsepower outboard turning the same 13.5 by 15 Spitfire aluminum prop as before, she reached the top speed of 37.5 miles per hour at 5,500 RPM, so with the lower horsepower engine we actually went 0.2 faster. At 3,000 RPM and 16.5 miles per hour, we got the best fuel economy with a burn rate of 2.5 gallons per hour and a range of 77 statute miles. Again, while still holding back a 10% reserve of that 13-gallon total fuel capacity. So, why was the boat with the larger engine slightly slower than the one with 15 less horsepower? The answer is that the 160 Super Sport with the 90 horsepower engine also had a bimini, and even though it was in its cover, it presented a lot of windage. There's also a towing pylon and other windage that the boat with the 75 did not have. And as we learned in physics class, wind pressure increases by the square root of the increased wind velocity. In any event, we checked our numbers against the Whaler factory team's test, and they were nearly identical. Our test boat's only instrumentation was a tachometer. So how did we get the performance data? Fortunately, the 4-stroke Mercs we tested both had VesselView Mobile. This feature allows a smartphone to connect to the engines via Bluetooth. With the model installed on the engines, we simply downloaded the free app and configured the screen to show the numbers we were looking for. The 160 Super Sport is fun to drive. She was responsive and had just the right cornering bite, with a small amount of sliding through the corners. She has a 15-degree deadrise at the transom, which is fairly deep for this size and type of boat, and it certainly contributes to her ride quality. The Helm console is positioned on the right side of the boat. It's simple, including a 5-spoke stainless steel wheel on a fixed base with a Whaler logo in the hub. The tachometer, nav light switch, and charging port are all present. In front of the cup holder to the right is a stainless steel cover for the all-around nav light socket. That light is stowed in the bulwark below the shifter. On my right is the throttle shifter with safety lanyard. The ignition key is on the aft end. The console has lockable storage on top just in front of the wheel. Pull up on the lift and lock latch and the cover hinges forward on a heavy-duty stainless steel hinge. The cover is gasketed and the compartment has a drain. For helm options, a 3-spoked wrapped wheel is available as well as a black dash cover. A smoke gray Lexan windshield is also available to fit over the storage cover. I'd like to see a footrest under the console. There are 4 seating options available. Test Boat 1 had 2 19-inch wide bucket seats, 17 inches high off the deck, and they can be rotated around. Between the seats are drink holders. Test Boat 2 had a bench seat with fixed backs. Both the fixed back and bucket seats have molded storage behind the seat backs. Next to the Helm console is a cooler with an available cushion. This makes a good observer's seat for watching the action behind the boat. The space for the removable cooler is 34 inches wide, so there is space next to the Helm console to move forward if the cooler is not in place, or simply step over the cooler seat. I like this arrangement because it gets 4 of the rated 6 passengers amidships to balance the boat. A handrail inside the boat's port side goes from stern to bow. A 33-inch long grab rail on the inside of the boat's starboard side extends forward of the console for anyone sitting on the bow cushion, as required by ABYC standards. An optional bow rail on top of the 4-inch wide cap rail wraps around the bow from the console forward. The rail is 7 inches high above the cap rail amidships, rising to 10 inches high on the bow. It makes an effective safety rail since it measures 29 inches high above the deck. An optional split rail version was installed on Test Boat 2. The deck in front of the cooler and helm console is 28 inches by 5 feet. The cockpit depth forward is 20 inches. The slight elevation on the forward corners of the deck have a diamond non-skid pattern just like the rest of the console. A raised padded bow seat measures 34 inches by 58 inches. With the bow cushion removed, there's enough space for a casting deck when fishing over the bow. Of course, the non-skid continues here. A self-draining anchor locker is below. The anchor locker cover hinges on the side and is finished on the underside. The bow tow eye on the outside of the boat is backed inside the anchor locker with another eye to secure the bitter end of the anchor rod. The bow has a cleat centered in front of the cushion, in line with the anchor locker. I appreciate the multipurpose hardware that the bow light has, with grooved base acting as a fair lead. The aft deck between the transom and helm seats measures 5 feet 5 inches by 4 feet 5 inches. A shelf with fiddle on the starboard side measures 40 inches long. Cockpit depth to port and starboard is 18 inches. There are 8-inch cleats on the cap rail to both sides. 2 6.5-gallon removable tanks are secured below the bench seat. A larger 19-gallon tank is an option that was supplied on Test Boat number 2. A 12-volt battery in a battery box with proper tie-downs is under the helm seat. Swim platforms with an optional faux teak pad are on each quarter. The port side had a telescoping 4-step reboarding ladder to meet ABYC standards. For this setup, I'd like to see another grab handle on top of the swim platform. This boat had lifting eyes on the transom, and just like on the bow eye, Whaler figured out how to make the inside of the hardware functional by providing cleats in the engine well. Our Test Boat 2 did not have the faux teak on the swim platform, just basic diamond pattern non-skid, but it did have an optional powder-coated ski tow frame, and it's only compatible with the 90 horsepower engine. The 160 Super Sport comes with a standard single-axle trailer, and if concerned about whether or not she'll fit into the garage, her external dimensions with the engine down are 20 feet 10 inches with the swing-away trailer tongue, by 7 feet 5 inches, including trailer, by 6 feet 5 inches high. With her bimini up, she has a bridge clearance of 6 feet 3 inches. Generations of boaters, including me, first cut their teeth on small Boston whalers that allowed us as kids to drive all by ourselves, because Boston whalers have always been so safe. It's nice to see that generations later, that still continues. And that's my performance report and features inspection of the Boston Whaler 160 Super Sport. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.